Have you ever wondered who's really watching you online? I don't mean in a creepy way, but, when you post something, a picture, an article, a video like this one, you see the view count go up, but who are all those people? Well, it turns out the vast majority of your audience is completely invisible. 90%. That number is staggering, isn't it? In pretty much any online community you can think of, about 90% of the people are only watching. They don't like, they don't comment, they don't share, they just consume. They are the silent majority.
And hey, let's be honest for a second. Are you one of them? We all are, at least some of the time, right? We scroll, we watch, we lurk. But what does this massive, silent audience actually mean for the internet? And more importantly, for the people creating all the stuff we watch every single day.
Okay, so let's dive into this. There's actually a name for this whole phenomenon. It's called the 1-9-90 rule, and it's basically a foundational principle of internet culture. The idea is, for every 100 people online, only one person is actually creating content. 9 others are interacting, commenting, liking, sharing, and a whopping 90 are just silently observing.
Now, as you can probably imagine, this creates a really strange and honestly often frustrating situation for that 1% who are doing all the creating. It sets up what you could call the creator's dilemma, this feeling of being constantly watched from behind a one-way mirror. This really captures the feeling perfectly. Imagine you're on a stage, speaking to a packed auditorium, but the stage lights are so bright that you can't see a single face in the audience. You know they're there. Your analytics tell you so, but you have no earthly idea if your message is landing, if anyone's connecting with it, or if you're just talking into the dark.
And for the audience, it's the total opposite. We can see the creator perfectly. It is a digital one-way mirror. We, the viewers, have this crystal clear window into their world, their thoughts, their work. But when they look back at us, all they see is their own reflection in a sea of anonymous view counts.
And this isn't just about ego or wanting more likes. It's about a really fundamental human need for connection, for impact. As the source material puts it so well, screaming into a void, even a void populated by millions of silent eyeballs, is isolating. Creators want to know that their work actually matters, that it resonates with someone, not just that it was viewed.
So what if we could change that? What if the platforms we use every day could offer a way to gently crack that one-way mirror and make the invisible visible? It's a pretty radical idea, I know, but it's one that's definitely worth exploring.
So the core proposal is a 2-step feature. First, the platform's analytics would get smart enough to identify users who are frequent silent viewers. The people who watch a creator's stuff all the time but have never once hit the like button or dropped a comment. And then, Step 2, the platform would let the creator send a very gentle, standardized message to some of these viewers, just a little nudge. And what would that nudge even look like? Well, it wouldn't be demanding or weird. It would just be a friendly invitation. Something like, "Hi name, I noticed you've stopped by my content frequently lately. If you ever feel inspired to share your thoughts, even just an emoji, I'd love to know you're there." See, it's all about lowering the barrier for that very first interaction.
Now, I know what some of you are thinking. The doubting Thomas in you is probably screaming, "Whoa, hold on, isn't that kind of creepy? I'm silent for a reason." And you know what? That is a 100% valid concern. So let's tackle it head on.
This right here is the core conflict of the entire idea. The goal is amazing, to build real community and connection. But the risk is that it could feel intrusive, like that shopkeeper who follows you around a store when all you want to do is browse in peace. So, how do you get the good part without that creepy downside? Well, the solution lies in building some really strong ethical guardrails. First and most important, you give users total control with something like an incognito mode, so they can just opt out and stay invisible if they want to. Easy. Second, you limit how many of these messages a creator can even send so it doesn't become spam. And third, you use standardized, platform-approved messages to keep the tone friendly and prevent any kind of misuse. Okay, so while we wait for the big social media platforms to maybe one day build something like this, what can we do right now?
The good news is there are actually a ton of strategies both creators and us viewers can use today to help bridge this gap and encourage more of that silent 90% to join the conversation.
The real key is to just lower the bar for participation. Think about it. Asking for someone's deep thoughts on this complex topic can be super intimidating, especially if you've never commented before. But asking them to drop a popcorn emoji if they made it to the end of the video, that's easy. It's a low-stakes ask that completely removes the pressure.
And you see this everywhere now. Things like polls, quizzes, those little emoji sliders on Instagram stories, they are brilliant tools for this. They let that 90% participate with just a single tap. And a lot of the time, it's anonymous. It's like a gateway to deeper engagement, making that very first step incredibly simple.
And here are two final, really powerful strategies. First, when a lurker does finally break their silence and leaves a comment, creators can validate them with a public reply. This welcomes them, and it sends a signal to all the other lurkers that this is a safe place to engage. And second, creators can just break the fourth wall and directly talk to the silent majority. Simply saying, hey, for those of you who watch and never comment, I see you and I appreciate you. That can make people feel seen without being put on the spot.
Which really brings us to the final big question. Is this 190-90 rule some unchangeable law of human nature, like a law of physics? Or is it just a reflection of the way our platforms are currently designed? Because if we change the design, maybe, just maybe, we can change the rule.
So, what do you think? In the spirit of this entire explainer, we would genuinely love to hear from you in the comments below. Even just an emoji is an awesome way to let us know you were here. We promise we read every single one. Thanks so much for watching, and we hope you'll join us again at King's Academy for more.